I'm standing with Johnny Bananas down at Pino's Korean Market. I'm going to make a gnocchi today, but before I start, I want to come talk to Johnny about the right potatoes to use. I like to use a really floury potato, which will have a high starch content, which will allow me to use less flour, which will mean for a lighter gnocchi. Which ones are we looking
I
at?
suggest Dutch cream, then the yellow. I'll show the colour inside.
So what I'm going to do with these, Johnny, is actually normally with gnocchi, you cook the potato in water, which will then take on a lot of moisture. I'm going to bake these, which will actually release a lot of the moisture out of there, concentrating the potato and the starch concentrate in there as well.
Beautiful, yum! I think I'll come over your place. Yum!
You can taste it after, let's do it. I've cooked these potatoes in an oven on 280 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. They're nice and soft. I tested to make sure they're cooked by putting a knife into the middle. It can pierce really, really easily. They're cooked all the way through, and I've cooked them in the oven to actually remove a lot of the moisture, which will allow us to use less flour when making the gnocchi, which will result in a much lighter, fluffier gnocchi. So now we can remove the skin. I'm using a little bit of a knife just to peel that off easily. Mash the potatoes really well so there's no lumps. You can add the egg into the potato, a pinch of nutmeg, some finely grated Parmesan cheese, and start with just a little bit of flour. I'm using 00 flour. Use your hands to start to bring all this mixture together, and it should come together into a dough pretty easily. Dust a clean work surface with flour. Dough comes out. You can really carefully just knead this a little bit. We're more so just bringing this together rather than kneading it too hard. We don't want to work the gluten within the flour too much and make a tough gnocchi. So once that comes together into a ball, you can start to roll it out. And from here, we can roll the gnocchi out. I don't like to make them too fine. I keep them fairly big and robust so they have a nice big shape because I toast these in butter after. And then we can get a little bit of semolina into there as well. And then we can start to cut these into gnocchi. After I've chopped them, I like to give them a little bit of a pinch just to sort of puff them up a little bit. Add some butter into a non-stick pan on a low to medium heat. And then I've got some boiling salted water here, and gnocchi can go in. We don't need to cook these guys for too long because it doesn't have that much flour in there. Ultimately, you're cooking gnocchi to cook the flour out. The potatoes are already cooked. Let's put that back on to bring it up a little bit. You can lift the gnocchi out a couple at a time. I generally don't put them onto a sieve because they're very delicate and I find they'll really crush. So I want them to keep their shape and form. So just be really gentle. Slotted spoon is awesome, giving them a little pat down on a tea towel just to remove any excess moisture. And then I'm putting them straight into this hot butter, which will actually toast them up after and give them a beautiful sort of crusty outer at the same time. Sage can go in. And we just want to keep these moving around over a low to medium heat in the butter, which will crisp up the sage and the gnocchi at the same time. So we're looking for these to be a little bit toasty on each side, not too much. A little bit browned is good. Doing this toasting in here really gives you a beautiful structure on the outside of the gnocchi. So you get that lovely crunchiness on the outside and it should be soft and pillow-like inside. And we'll put a little bit of that nutty butter over the top. You can finish with just a little bit of freshly grated Parmesan, and that's it.